Hi, it's Laura over here at Hyperstamper. I have finished today's Antique Junk Journal. This is a beautiful early edition of Ishmael by Eden Southworth, and it is from 1901. When I received this one, it had no spine, and so I built a spine on this and covered it up with some beautiful vintage doily. And I've got my vintage beads down the side and some matching ribbons. And this is just an exquisite little original image on here. Isn't she beautiful with the rose in her hair? It's really, really pretty. So inside is all antique and vintage ephemera, and I really overstuffed it. Here is the letter Y, which I love, from an antique book. I've got a bunch of these that I pulled out of this old book. I love the Y there. Got some Chantilly lace here, vintage, and this beautiful postcard here from New Jersey, Atlantic City. And that is, I believe, from about 1910 to 1920. And I've got some more antique lace here. And then over here, I've got some vintage, that's a vintage scarf. And then we have a 1920s page here with this lovely family here and their pets. That's sweet. I've put antique paper on the back of those for journaling. And then this is some beautiful vintage upholstery fabric. And when you lift it up, there's a little hidden journaling spot under there as well. And then over here, I've got this 1890s arithmetic page from a school book and another antique bit on the back and a 1950s Maple Grove dairy receipt. This is from the 1920s. Look at this sweet little outdoor clothes. Isn't that cute? And that is from one of the Stickum books. And the children have cut out the clothes and then or popped them out and then glued them into the right spot. Very sweet. And that's mounted here on top of a vintage sewing pattern. And I've got antique paper flower up here. And this is a very cool plate. It's an observatory in California, and that is from the 1930s. And then up here, that is part of the interior spine of the book, the construction piece. And we've got an antique stamp down here, a US stamp, and a piece here. And then this is a lovely little photograph. I'm hoping, it looks like these are brother and sister because it's Bob and Judy. And that's from 1949, so that's sweet. And I've got another beautiful Laurel Wheeler pattern in here. And this one matches the one I had from yesterday. And this lovely lady with her apron is dusting. So again, that would probably be a tea towel pattern there that you would iron on. And this is a handwritten research paper, 1888 to 1905. And then this used to be the cover of a children's book, but I turned it into a journaling tag, and you can stuff actually a few more pieces in that pocket, all made this pocket out of a vintage dictionary page. And this is from 1927. Isn't it beautiful? What a beautiful photograph. These two little girls looking over at the landscape there with the churches in the background. I stamped that on this paper. And this is a really cool, it is from a dust cover book jacket from a very, very old book. And I just thought it was really cool. It was completely fallen apart, but I was able to save that. And then this little family here in the toy store. And then this is a 1940 Paris, France almanac page, full page, double-sided. And then this is a floating pocket here. And I've got a very sweet little children's book page piece here, journaling on the back. And I love this, once in a lifetime from an antique book. And these are vintage fasteners, just for fun, a vintage flashcard and a vintage payday card. Lots of fun things you can do there. Upcycle, decorate them, collage them. I really like when they're just a variety of things. And that's all mounted onto this vintage map of Europe. We've got Great Britain here. And an antique music sheet. And the Children's Garden of Verses, early 1920s. And I pulled this from an 1898 book. Look at that pretty little mom and son there. And then this is from a 50-plus-year-old Birds of North America book. I love that singing songbird page. And then we have another children's book page here, a little birthday party page, dog down here. And then I've got another vintage recipe card that was never used, and one of these wonderful original 1940s Arborite Company salesman samples. So they're double-sided, and I love it. There's green rift and chartreuse rift. It's just really fun to have. And then Alice in Wonderland here, The Lion and the Unicorn. And that's from 1925. And this is also from the 1880s. And I just love it because it's miscellaneous. It's one of the pages from the back where people would have taken notes. And I made this pocket out of a vintage doily as well. And this is really cool from the 1930s. This is an order that was sent in from somebody in, I know the answer to this, Connecticut. And they're asking if this company has bookends, figurines of people, animals, fish, and fruit. It must be at least 3.5 inches taller. I just think that's so much fun. Kind of a fun piece with the American stamps on there from the 30s. This is an early 1900s children's book page. And over here, and then look at this great map here of Europe, and that is very old. A pocket here with a vintage children's page, and this came out of the Lone Rangers from the 50s. I just think it's really colorful and fun. Look at that beautiful background. Isn't that great? I love it. And then over here, this, I know it just looks like nothing, but it's this beautiful brown page, and it's actually from another little book. It's the cover page, inside cover, but she can journal on the back of that, and that is from the 1880s. They very rarely stay intact. That one is intact. The Fox and the Crow story, which I see a lot of. And here's a little envelope full of vintage stamps that she can have fun with, whoever owns this. She. And in a little vintage glassy envelope from a stamp collector from way, way back. And there is that Alice in Wonderland page there as well. And over here, made a pocket out of a children's book page, a little family going for a picnic. And then this is another floating pocket. We've got Monopoly money here from a vintage game, and journal on the back of that, children's book page here. And then over here, another Monopoly piece from a vintage game, and journaling here. So there's a lot that's going on in that little teeny tiny bit of real estate. Children's book pages. And this is a Golden Touch story here. Some little child colored the crown there, which is very sweet. A vintage journaling page. This is from the early 1900s. Nice little plate there. You can journal on the back of that as well. Another fun children's book page. This is from 1952 from a nature book. And then this is a really cool, look at this awesome piece here. And that is from the 1940s. Look at that fashion. Isn't she a sweetie? I love it. So lots more things can be stuffed into these pockets as well. Sorry, I won't struggle. I'll just move on. I won't put you through that. This is fun. This is a 1950s, sort of a teen magazine music piece here about all the country stars. Look at that. So we've got the words to some of the famous songs of the year. And it's pretty cool. Love it. And because it's a Western piece, I use this Western children's pocket, children's book page pocket here. And that's a vintage map of North America. Another one here. And this is also from the early 1900s. And that brings us to the end. I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. You can see all of my junk journals in my Etsy shop, hyperstamper.etsy.com. And subscribe. Come back soon. Bye for now.